Hi, everybody. I'm MrFunkEdude, and today I'm starting a new series called Things I've Learned Over the Last 50 Years. Today's episode is called Things Are Almost Never as Bad as You Think They Will Be. Life, like the ocean, has its ebbs and its flows. Some days are calm, others are complete hurricanes, and just like in the ocean, it's easy to get pulled into the riptide of circumstance and be carried out to sea. Often, though, we end up anticipating a hurricane in our lives before we've even seen it form. We get so worried about its destructiveness that we act as if it's already hit. We panic, get frustrated, and become upset over things that haven't even happened yet. And because our brains are hardwired to remember the negative more than the positive, we forget that more often than not, it's never as bad as we imagine it will be. Why do we do that? Some say that it's an evolutionary trait. To survive, it was more important to remember the things that could kill us so that we could, stay alive. Regardless of where it came from, how it formed, it's here inside of us, and we live with it every day. The point that I'm trying to get to here is that because we are hardwired to recall the negative more than the positive, our brains will take the potentially bad situation and remind you of all the similarly bad experiences that you've had in the past, and project that onto your current situation. In other words, it takes your fear of something going wrong and it amps it up to 9,000.
It's over 9,000!
So here's what over 50 years of experience has taught me. It's almost never as bad as you imagine it will be. Don't get me wrong. Sometimes things become worse than what we expected. It does happen. If you think about it closely, though, you'll probably come to realize that those times where things actually got worse, they are far and few between. It doesn't happen that often. Most of the time, though, we get in our own way. We allow our lizard brain to overwhelm us, and we sometimes make careless mistakes because of it. The question then is, how do we stop ourselves from doing this? Well, I've learned that the first step is to recognize when it's happening. We can do this by asking ourselves a few simple questions. First question, what if the worst thing to happen doesn't? What would happen instead? The next question, do I really understand what the problem is? I've learned that by shifting my focus, my lizard brain disconnects and my rational brain steps in, or at least tries to. Let's take a look at each question. What if the worst thing to happen doesn't? What would happen instead? When my therapist first suggested this question to me, I remember being a bit shocked. I had never, ever considered this at all. What did it mean, what if the worst thing doesn't happen? Doesn't happen? What would happen instead? She explained to me that when we get stressed, our minds often go to the worst case scenario in order to make sure that we are prepared for even more stress that might come. And this was very helpful when we needed to outrun a predator. Nothing moves feet faster than the thought of having your face torn off. What I later became amazed with was how often asking myself this question helped. By just stopping and asking myself, what if the worst thing that I think will happen doesn't? I was able to shift my train of thought and calm down. What I discovered over time was that often the worst thing didn't happen. And reminding myself of this each time definitely helps. The next question I ask myself is, do I really understand what the problem is? This is something that we don't ask ourselves enough. Our brain wants us to think that we understand the world around us and all of its little nuances, but let's be honest, it can't. There's no way our brain can handle the deluge of information that life throws at us. So to compensate, the brain has learned to focus on the general rather than the specific. Think about when you last drove a car. Did you have to think about every little step, or was it automatic? This is a handy thing that our brain does that helps us move through our day. It automates how we live so that we don't have to spend so much time focusing on every little detail. However, sometimes that kind of focus can allow us to skip over details that may change our perspective. Take, for example, the disappearing pen. We've all had the experience of setting a pen or a pencil down at our desk, only to reach for it seconds later and it's just gone. It's not there. our brain makes this little disconnect for a moment, and it's something we like to call disbelief, and then starts to search for a reasonable answer. Did I set it on the table? Did I put it in my pocket? Did someone else take it? Inevitably, we look down at the floor and realize it just rolled off the table. You see, because our brain is so used to seeing the same things over and over and over again, it will often just assume things are where they should be, just like that pen. And because we didn't see the pen roll off the table, our brain assumes it's still there until the moment we reach for it and discover it's gone. Rolling off the table was the information that we missed. If we had known it had rolled off the table, our experience with the pen would have been different. That's how our focus can change our perspective sometimes. This is why I try to ask myself if there's something missing in the situation that I'm panicking over, that maybe I just don't understand. By doing this, my brain shifts gears from what it thinks it knows to discovering what I don't know, which allows me to then consider different options. Both of these questions are designed to question the assumption that your mind has made. By questioning my assumptions, it allows me to calm down and approach the problem from a more rational place. So remember, the next time you start to freak out over a situation, ask yourself these two questions. And then ask yourself if it's as bad as you first thought it was. Chances are it isn't, and it won't be. Thank you for watching this video. If you found it interesting or helpful, please give it a thumbs up. I'm new to YouTube and I could really use your help to be noticed by the algorithm. Make sure to subscribe to help my channel grow and to encourage me to make new videos every week. Have a great day.